This video is brought to you by True Tales of Buried Treasure, the largest collection of old treasure magazines in the West. On our website, you can search for individual treasure stories by region, or buy our original magazines themselves. To pay us a visit, please click on the link in the description. Enjoy. For over a century, the mystery and allure of the Mount Ophir golden slugs have captivated and baffled treasure hunters. The key facts are hidden in the old Mariposa County, California, archives, where clues await discovery. Despite this, no one has yet found the first privately minted official U.S. gold coins lost on Bear Creek in 1851. The only significant disputed fact is the number of coins lost in the tragedy, with reports varying from 50 to more than 300. This detail remains unclear in the county records and was likely unknown at the time. Only the tax collector knew the exact number, but he drowned before making an accounting. Many consider the Mariposa lost gold a minor treasure, but a closer look reveals its potential value far exceeds the coin's total denomination. If 50 of the $50 gold coins were lost, their face value would be $2,500. If 300 coins were lost, it would be $15,000. However, this isn't the true value of the hoard. By weight, the gold would be worth about 10 times more than in 1851. Yet this is still minor compared to the real potential value. The coins, cast by hand in 1851, could fetch at least $10,000 each from collectors today, perhaps more, depending on their mint condition. As these coins were brand new and never circulated, they could be worth around $300,000 to the finder. Additionally, there was an unknown amount of raw gold with the lost slugs, making any estimate of the total value speculative. The story began in 1850, when Mariposa County was established in the Motherlode region. It was nearly 3 times its current size, with 49ers still flooding into California's goldfields. The area was mostly wild and undeveloped, with only trails for travel until traffic increased enough to necessitate roads. Finding good men for county offices was difficult due to low pay and little need for officials initially. The county was so poor that a log cabin on Aria Fria Creek in a Mexican settlement served as the courthouse. County officers conducted business there infrequently. The county seat was located in the hills southwest of Mount Bullion, with Mount Ophir 2 miles to the north and northwest of present-day Mariposa. It remained there until Mariposa built a courthouse and became the county seat in 1854. One of the first elected officials was Joseph F. Marr, a thin, dark-haired man with a shy smile. Honest and diligent, he served as treasurer and tax collector. Marr traveled the extensive county to collect property and foreign miners' taxes, primarily in raw gold. Without a bank or strongbox, he buried his collections around the log cabin until needed for official expenditures, a common practice at the time. By law, the U.S. Congress authorized private assayers to coin money. The first was the John L. Moffett Assaying Company at Mount Ophir, a mining camp at the base of the peak. The coinage was supervised by the U.S. assayer. According to the Daily Alta Californian of February 21, 1851, hexagonal $50 gold pieces manufactured under the supervision of the U.S. assayer were issued yesterday by the Moffett Mint at Mount Ophir. One side of the slug featured an eagle in the center, with United States of America, the gold content in figures, and 50 doles on the edge. The reverse side had radiating lines and was stamped with $50 and John L. Moffett on the edge. These coins, called slugs, were legal tender backed by the U.S. government. The Mount Ophir Mint didn't produce many, as other mints in San Francisco, Sacramento, and elsewhere also made gold coins. The Mount Ophir Mint closed when gold production decreased. Because few were made and it was the first mint in California, Mount Ophir coins are very rare and valuable as antiques. On December 11, 1851, Treasurer Marr dug up the county gold, packed it in saddlebags, and rode to the Moffett Mint. He exchanged the raw gold for newly cast $50 coins. He left Mount Ophir to collect more taxes, and witnesses saw his saddlebags were stuffed with coins. Each coin, made of 24-karat gold, weighed 2.5 troy ounces, with a total weight of about 40 pounds. These coins were close to $50 in value, and an extra pound or so wouldn't have burdened his horse. Marr's exact route that night is unknown, but he likely camped off the trail. When he didn't return to Agua Fria the next day, officials organized a search party. 2 miners saw Mar on the morning of December 12th. He mentioned he might go to the Lewis General Store if a storm worsened. This was the last time Mar was seen alive. A flood hit Bear Creek that day. When the search party reached the ford, they believed Mar had tried to cross. They split up to search both sides of the creek. They found Mar's horse downstream, saddlebags intact but empty. Farther on, they found Mar's body in driftwood with no signs of foul play. He never carried a gun and wouldn't have resisted bandits. Mar was buried in Agua Fria. Because he was carrying so much gold, officials kept it secret for weeks. Deputies searched Bear Creek thoroughly but found nothing. They also searched the trail, which had many crevices and rocks, but found no trace of the gold. It was thought that when Mar found the creek dangerously flooded, he hid the gold rather than risk crossing. He was known to have carried more gold than when he left Mount Ophir. Although he had no shovel, he could have hidden the gold in a crevice or hole, covering it with loose rocks. When the loss was finally admitted, many adventurers rushed to Bear Creek but found nothing. None of the slugs ever appeared in circulation, confirmed by the fact that the mold used to cast them was new and had a minor defect, which led to its destruction. Only the coins carried by Mar were made with it. Over the years, the region's mining activity declined, and once thriving camps turned into ghost towns. The story of the lost gold persisted, often exaggerated. In 1890, excitement flared when an old Mexican man in Hornitos was found with a similar slug. It turned out to be a brass test slug from the same mold, later gold-plated, obtained from a Moffat mint worker. In 1905, Lemuel "Lem" Moore, a wanderer and prospector, encountered a dying man named Squeaky in Sacramento. Squeaky, who often roamed old gold rush towns, mentioned knowing where a fortune was buried in Mariposa County. Lem took Squeaky to his camp, hoping the fresh air would help his health. Squeaky gradually improved and began helping Lem pan for gold. One night, Squeaky revealed he knew where a fortune was hidden, but had never retrieved it, fearing the county would claim it. As Squeaky's health worsened in July, he told Lem about a map to the gold in his possession. He said it was the Mariposa gold and some dust, cautioning Lem about the county's claim. Squeaky confessed he had been part of the posse that found Mar's body and horse. After the official search was abandoned, he returned alone to Bear Creek, eventually finding the hidden gold. Financially struggling, he took a small amount of raw gold and one Mount Ophir $50 coin, which led to his downfall. Drinking in an Agua Fria saloon, his sudden wealth aroused suspicion, and the sheriff questioned him. When Squeaky's story didn't add up, the sheriff ordered a search. This brought the revealing Mount Ophir assay slug to light. Informed that he was spending county tax money, Squeaky was jailed and questioned at length. He claimed he found the slug in the sand of Bear Creek, but no one believed him, and he was kept in jail for 6 months. Several threats were made to hang him unless he led officials to the county tax gold. Eventually, they released him with a warning to never return to Mariposa County, or he would be hanged. After staying away for years, Squeaky finally returned to Bear Creek to retrieve the gold, only to find that the landscape had changed. The old roads were gone, and new ones had been built. He couldn't find the old crossing where Mar had drowned, or the place where he had hidden the gold. Squeaky shared this story with Lem in between bouts of weakness, until Lem suggested he rest for the night. Lem tried to make Squeaky comfortable, but by morning Squeaky had died. In Squeaky's belongings, Lem found 2 small gold-specked quartz fragments and a piece of paper with a crude map of Bear Creek, an old crossing, and 10 piles of rock. The map indicated a hiding spot behind a rock marked with an X. The paper was worn and torn from years of handling. Lem buried Squeaky with the help of local prospectors and told them nothing of the story. Lem had heard rumors about the lost Mariposa County gold for years, but was skeptical. However, Squeaky's story intrigued him. During the winter in Sacramento, he read a historical account of Mar, the gold, and the Ophir Mint. He researched old records and accounts of the incident. Despite thinking the gold was likely found years ago, Lem couldn't shake off Squeaky's story. In spring 1906, Lem went to Mariposa, the county seat, and made discreet inquiries. None of the older residents knew anything about the lost gold. Lem then traveled to Bear Creek, camping and surveying both sides of the stream. He found many rock piles and an old road that might have been the original crossing. One rock pile, about half a mile from the old crossing site, matched the description on Squeaky's map. Behind it was a small flat area. Lem set up camp and decided to thoroughly investigate before giving up. He sharpened a 12-foot pole and started poking into the cracks and holes filled with years of debris. The work was slow and disturbed many rats, squirrels, and a few rattlesnakes. By the end of the first week, Lem had only investigated 3 holes. Realizing he needed a better approach, he devised a new plan. The crevices in the rocks, some quite long, varied from a few inches to 18 inches in width. The upper sections were filled with leaves, small branches, and debris carried in by pack rats. To speed up his work, Lem set one crevice on fire, but the flames needed constant stirring to burn deeply, and the damp bottom prevented the fire from sustaining itself. He had to manually remove the residue and inspect the stone bottom using a pole. This method sped up the process, but after 3 weeks of searching the most promising spots, Lem came upon a dome-shaped mass of eroded rock with a 10-inch wide crack. It took 2 days to burn the debris out of the 9-foot-long crack, revealing gravel and earth mixed with rough material. Lem then used a modified tomato can on a pole to bail out the remaining debris. 3 days later, he unearthed a fragment of heavy cotton canvas, likely from a sack used to transport gold dust and coins. An hour later, he found another cloth fragment with a seam, confirming his suspicion. The next morning, Lem found moist black dirt filled with shiny gold particles. After panning the dirt, he discovered 4 pea-sized nuggets. Continuing to bail, he reached the bottom of the crack and saw more gold gleaming in the sunlight. However, his can got stuck under a ledge and he lost it. He tried raking the debris with the pole, but as night fell, he found nothing promising. With good light the next morning, Lem resumed work and discovered a hexagonal gold slug. Using the pole, he uncovered a dozen more slugs along with rotted cloth fragments. Lem had indeed found the long-lost Mariposa gold. To retrieve it properly, he needed better tools. Lem traveled to Mariposa for hammers, drills, and dynamite. On his way, he met Frenchy Duché, a former prospector. They shared drinks and reminisced, though Lem didn't mention the treasure. Back at the site, Lem single-handedly drilled holes in the rock, filled them with dynamite, and set the charges. The explosion was too powerful, scattering rocks and knocking Lem unconscious. He woke up in severe pain with broken ribs and multiple injuries. Staggering to the blast site, he found that the explosion had displaced the rocks but revealed no gold. Lem collapsed and was later found near Mariposa, barely conscious. He was taken to a doctor and eventually to Frenchy's home in Lagrange. Despite receiving care, Lem never fully recovered his mental clarity. He managed to tell Frenchy bits of his story, but Frenchy and his son couldn't locate Lem's pack mule, tools, or the blast site. Lem died in October 1906 and was buried in an unmarked grave near Lagrange. Despite Frenchy's efforts, he never found Lem's discovery site. The Mariposa gold slugs remain hidden on Bear Creek, as secure as the day Mar lost them. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to read the original article or purchase the magazine from which it was taken, please check out our website, truetalesofburiedtreasure.com.